panel discussion. I'm really glad to host Sonia, Selen, and Charlene. Welcome. One of my main motivation while launching Web3 Stronger Together is to promote and demonstrate what equality and diversity is all about, not just a marketing speech. It's not greenwashing. It's for me, it's a behavior in my business since now 28 years in my personal life, and I'm really glad to host you. Could you, we will first, each one will introduce. Let's introduce yourself. Sonia, you can start maybe.
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Sonia. I've been in the, I have a background of a product design for about 11 years. And then I started diving into XR about 4 years ago. This was actually in the window of like right before COVID. So actually when COVID hit, it felt like, okay, maybe I'm in the right path. So it was like that as hard it is for everybody. And since that, I've been trying to try different things, and because of my background in design, and of course like when I went into it, the first thing that I wanted to do is also like to extend my like my horizon in XR. Like how do I design like an XR experience, a virtual events, a little bit of gamification and everything. From this, I actually got the chance to build a small community called Upwolves. And this is where like we have all the, like we call them builders from different social platforms in our Discord. And this is actually where we connect them with clients, with brand, with anybody actually. Is like from different companies. And what we see is like some of the people who are looking into building like digital twins, and so we connect them with like the people within our community to allow them to shift their supposedly physical events or physical business supposedly into virtual reality. I myself, like I'm a creator. I've been trying to use like XR, including VR, MR, and AR to build the bridge. So that's about me.
Welcome. Selen.
Yes, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me, and so great to meet you all. And yeah, I'm Selen Lun. I'm from Istanbul, and actually my background is from theater and acting. I'm an actor, about 15 years. But my relation with XR technologies is coming from 2018, and coming from my interest on like how can I perform on virtual reality, like what are the limits, what can we discover on that area, because I was also very interested in with the technologies and upcoming digital changes. So and I was also a very hardcore gamer kid. So with the pandemic, mostly all of my work grounds has closed, like theater, like studios, and so many things got closed. So I had more time to really dive into games and XR industry. And I started to work as event coordinator, also event organizer, producer, and right now I have an initiative called XR Eventist. And it started like a year and a half ago as an Instagram account, but now like it's going into a virtual events production on virtual reality. So I'm very excited, and I'm also going hand in hand with the game industry. And I was volunteer for the GameFi Turkey gamification community. And I also I'm also the founder of Loom Family Company, which is founded in 2017 to bring up all that I do on fields of theater, performance art, games now, and XR technologies. So for me, everything is like a big puzzle, and it's like pieces are coming together. So when I try to tell, it's kind of hard, not easy, what's going on, like with all of that. But yeah, when we come together and have a chance to talk with you, like you people, like then we are finding our meeting points, because eventually everything is connected. So thank you so much for inviting me again.
Thanks to you. Charlène, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Charlene Nichols. I am, I started my career 20 years in the eye care industry, became a real expert and student in all things related to, making eyeglasses, selling eyeglasses, working with the people that, make this industry really great. I resigned after, 2 decades of serving my industry because I just saw too many gaps in the market with technology. I kind of started saying recently that the giants of this industry, they were very successful. They won. And what they succeeded at was completely keeping any new, fresh idea from emerging in this industry at all. Because if you think about, your vision, it's probably one of the most important gifts that you can have. And if the people who are helping you to see better, they don't have the technology to live in today's, day and age. I mean, so many people are buying glasses online, and they're like, there's so many amazing ways that we can make that experience better, whether it be virtual try-on, virtual measurement, even a virtual eye check to make sure that your prescription hasn't changed, and being able to connect with your doctors through telemedicine. These are all things that should be happening now, and they're happening on such a smaller scale. But 6.5, 7 years ago, I saw this coming like a freight train. So I resigned from my industry to get down in the trenches, face to face with just local eye doctors and opticians, and say, like, how can we help you to sell glasses other than physical? Because the world is just not moving towards a migration towards physical. They're moving towards a migration towards digital and towards virtual. And I was actually saying, we're going to build virtual optical shops in like 2016. And it sounded crazy back then. I'm sure people thought I was absolutely out of my mind to be saying this. I believe in partnerships and collaborations. So I knew back then that I was never going to be able to develop the skill to build VR and AR technologies, but I knew that was the key component. So I partnered with this amazing, amazing developer who had 20 years in developing VR as of 2016. So here today, he's almost 3 decades building VR and AR. That tells you how long he was building it with Flash. Okay, so that tells you how long this technology has been there. And he adopted me. He couldn't bring his product to market. He didn't have the sales and marketing, tools, and in the industry at the time, the people weren't listening. And today we have a metaverse. So flash forward to today, I've taken everything that I've learned. I incorporated virtual events, like you said, Selene. And I just fought for what I believed in. But it became, towards the last 2 or 3 years, less about the opticians and optometrists and more about the end user. Because what I realized is, if you're not really embracing technology in the last 7 years, if you're not on social media, if you're not digitally connected, you're missing a key component of communication. You're literally disconnected. You don't understand the needs of today's community. And there's so many legacy local businesses in this position. I don't think they realize they're in this position. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just, you go in every day, you're in your 4 walls, you do your thing. And I think what we're doing with, sessions like this are really important, because we keep hearing this technology is not here. It's 5 years, 10 years from now. And I think we all know that's just simply not true. So thank you for having me today.
Thanks to you. We have started to circle around our today topic, GameFi and the Metaverse, a new frontier for virtual events and conference like today, like Web3 Stronger Together. We have cooperating with Evland that will aim to bring a real metaverse venue. For now, we are still building it. It's a long way. I'm curious to hear how the metaverse will change and this industry, and what kind of experience we can expect. Who want to start?
Well, I'll just say this shortly and then give the floor up. When we started building, we had a simple goal. It was build a virtual convention center that looks real. Then we realized we mastered that very quickly with tools like Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5 was only about 60 days old when we started building our world. And I remember I watched the Matrix clip and I'm like, oh, this is what we can build? And I'm like, all right. And I have this amazing team. So I'm just like, can we do this? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right. Can we build New York City? Like, this is the Omniverse city behind me. They're like, sure. Can we have avatars that, represent who people are? Absolutely. Can we have NPC models that are modeling different eyewear, and can I, recall a model and say, hey, can you change those glasses? I want to see this pair on you or that pair on you. And then can I try them on myself? I think the answer to your question, Laurent, is only limited by the imagination. And the great news is, with people who are building today, they're facilitating that imagination to breathe so that we can envision the future, because it really, truly is limitless. That's just my 2 cents.
Thanks. Sonia?
Well, for me, I guess I will speak based on like a couple of past projects that I was holding. I think one of the most interesting one would be I have this one client supposedly that he is looking to he's looking into like getting a new how do I say this, like reaching a new market segmentation, which is the Generation Z. And so these are the people that are currently doesn't actually go to the bookstore. They buy everything online and everything. And so there's a lot of like local businesses here in Barcelona that are kind of, they're not there yet. They have an online store, but that's it. And everything like for Gen Z is all about like experience. Like for example, in Charlene's case, like if people can actually like try this virtual glasses, like from social media, like from all of this kind of thing, like push them to buy more than just seeing them like in the website. So so my client actually came to me like with the same things, like, okay, I wanted to build like a scavenger hunts that would make people would walk around the city, find different things, and eventually can go into the bookstore and to find a certain clue in order to exchange it with a book. So they are kind of using a gamification to, let's say Pokemon Go. They're using Pokemon Go concept to reach out this new target market. And so initially when I kind of like took that projects, like I started building them, and I thought like this is a nice project, like I have fun like building them and everything. In the middle of that, when that project was going on, I was reached out by another person who kind of have the same idea but for a different like product, like all together. And so I kind of like thought like, okay, does everybody kind of think right now that gamification is actually a way to gain new market? Or the question is like, is that the only language that Gen Z respond to? So,
This is a question. You're right. Selene?
I mean, yeah, Sonia, like you really pinpoint a good point, because like I think that gamification is kind of the way how we express ourselves in this right now, like this very kind of new and new era, like because not only for Gen Z, but because of the way way of how we changed our way of communication with ourselves in the last 10 years with the social media and all of the developments on how we use web. Because I'm from, like, let's say I'm not Gen Z, okay? I'm from 80s. I'm a 90s kid. So I see the whole way. I see the whole story, like how it all started. I'm in the very beginning, not in the.
Hold on.
I've seen the horizon.
I've seen the sunrise, and because I was just a kid, like rolling cassettes and listening Walkman. So right now we have VR, we have virtual reality, we have augmented reality, we have mixed reality, we have all kinds of realities. But what does that mean for any person, like totally don't get anything, or the person who thinks that, like, oh, I don't get anything? Actually, like for example, like the phones that we use, like we are already there. Like this is not future. The thing that we talk, the thing that we say, like the concept of metaverse is not the future. Like I think what I want to see and what I want to spread around the world and people is like we are already here and we are already making this together. So everyone is part of that. Like when I talk with a person about NFTs or Web3 or blockchain or virtual reality, like if we are talking about lack of knowledge, I mean, this is coverable. Like you can just go and Google everything and you can just read. But the thing that we are having is right now is like the way of communication, because I'm also, I told you, like I'm also doing events, organizing events, working with communities. So the way of communication has totally changed. I mean, like I talk Turkish. English is my second language, right? So I see in every language the change is very, very big and wide. And the languages that we know like 20 years ago, like, okay, if I say this phone, this is a phone, okay, we got it. But the way we talk with each other and the way we express ourselves with the language is so different right now. And this is a big part of digital change. And I don't want to say that we're about kind of a revolution. Like, yeah. So I think I kind of answered your question, or did I miss?
Yeah. No. No, it's inspiring and very interesting. What kind of new experience do you think Metaverse could bring in terms of events or conference? I mean, in real life events, if I talk about our Web3 industry, it's mostly in Western countries, Asia, but I mean, let's say privileged countries, and when it comes to the cost, I will not give some name, but it can cost €1,000 or dollars to attend to such event. And pretending to talk about inclusivity, having this kind of for me it's strange, but what I see really fascinating, exciting, it's a way to offer a way to onboard each one everywhere. For sure, you need having a good internet connection still, and time to time, like we discussed in the previous panel, it's a challenge. We were talking about Africa in capitals.
Yeah.
Now it's mostly not a problem anymore, but you go 10 kilometers in the countryside and you don't have any any network. So, but seeing this at least opportunity for now, before it will become a reality and a normality, letting a way to each one everywhere, joining at the same moment for a concert, for in a movie theater, a conference, exposition, whatever, everyone being able to join at the same time from everywhere, and with or without an avatar, being yourself or being someone else. For me, it's really exciting just to think about, and I'm really excited to have a. Do you think about what it could be, what it will be, what kind of experience we could bring to everyone? We want to share your point of view.
Well, if I could just, Laurent, I want to touch on a few things that you said. And as Salim was talking, there were a couple points that came to mind. And when we were doing virtual events, we were doing them back in 2017, pre-COVID. People did not know how to be synchronous at all. And you're exactly right. That synchronous experience is really important. I fought 2.5 years to try to get people synchronous. I think I maxed out at like 50, even during COVID. And when we launched, this is before the metaverse, this is just with virtual events like AirMeet and stuff like that. Back during COVID, back during when we launched the optical metaverse, which was just October of last year, I fought for that synchronous connection. And I also fought for people to come in a 2.5 experience and then move into the metaverse experience, because I wanted to kind of push them forward. This is a word that most of these people had never heard before. And I was trying to get them to go there and create an avatar. And I did gamify the whole thing. And I let them know, okay, this is what you're going to gain by taking step 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think the most important message about gamification right now is that, thank God, the world of cookies and algorithms controlling us are pretty much done. I think that this younger generation is not going to allow themselves to be controlled by manipulative marketing. If you're going to be marketing in this era, you have got to be able to really understand your audience. And the great thing about gamification is nobody's going to play for a game that they don't want to play, or to win a prize that isn't interesting to them. So it's going to really require brands to understand what motivates the people who are playing these games. Because at the end of the day, there's a goal with the game. You either want to engage your audience, you want to build a good, idea about your brand, you want to get them to take advantage of offers that you have. But these are all alternatives to what we used to do, which is just, okay, you typed in the word shoes, I'm just going to follow you everywhere and show you tons of shoes. I think this new era of gamification is going to really make the customer experience so much more enjoyable for everyone.
Sonia?
Well, for me, I think, and maybe I'm thinking like a designer mind, probably, but I feel like from like my own glasses, everybody is kind of like excited about this new technology. I mean, it's not exactly new, but it's like this emerging technology. Everybody is kind of excited with that, and everybody is super up in terms of trying them, being there, like you said, like being able to feel that you are there at the same time with everybody. So it seems like I did a little bit of a brainstorming, like with some of like a couple of my clients who have like an event platforms, productivity platforms, how to bring people to work into the metaverse. So we did a lot of like design thinking, and then while we're doing design thinking, that from what we saw, that it seems like the issue might not be to how to get people to try this, because people are there, they want to try it. But I think what could we focus on in the future, I guess, it would be the retention, because that's what's missing at the moment. Like the retention is missing. Is gamification is one of the way? Probably gamification could be one of the way to get retention through challenges, through virtual badges. One of the people that I was talking to was, I don't know if you guys know this platform, Hundo. This platform focus on getting people to build like their virtual resume. Supposedly it's like this. So you will have all your data, all your achievement. It's like LinkedIn, but in blockchain, supposedly. And so they made like a virtual event recently, and then they were like, okay, how do we make how do we make a differentiation between like other virtual events that people are doing with our virtual events? How do we even like start people to want to talk to each other? And the idea that we come up with was like, okay, why don't we make a virtual badges? It's a little bit of a gamification. You choose what you like, what you where do you come from. So we are using like their demographic, their hobby, their liking to actually grant them a virtual badges. It's a part of gamification, but at the end we start seeing people walking into this. Oh, for example, it was me, and then I see Charlene with the same badges, like she's I like cooking too. And then they started forming a group, like and then we saw that. I was like, it's amazing how gamification can do. So yeah, I guess to summarize up, I think it would be nice if like more and more brand platforms like would focus on like how to get that retention.
I regularly discuss with big corporates, corporation, big brands, and they are all trying to explore what is the best use case. And sorry, I used to say, in fact, there is no best use case. It's all about experimenting. We are still at what I call a prehistoric stage, and it's up to us. It's based on the limitation of our imagination, and also the way what we try to share through the Web3 Stronger Together initiative. It's also about humanistic behavior, and also proposing not only a new technical innovation, but also a new way to interact with each other, where for me peer-to-peer means 1 = 1. 1 = 1 = 1 = 1. And through this Web3 ecosystem, through what we are all together building, we can also try to experiment a new way to interact, a new way to also really give a chance to each one, everyone, everywhere, and how we redefined our let's say core system of values. Not only being constantly focused on the pure technical innovation, but also saying, okay, I start from scratch, I forget everything, and I try to implement things. I don't. Yes, go on.
I think it's a really nice way of putting it. Like it's like reimagining how one would connect with, how to one interact with the other. I think it would be one of like a really good aspect of like how to make this virtual events like successful.
Selene, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, oops. But sorry, my dog.
No worries.
Okay. So the thing is, sorry. Okay, you can go on. I will just.
Okay. Charlene?
Laurent, and I'll just give them a very simple example of this, because don't forget, you have different people that have different adoption rates of technology. And I know I harp on that, but that's because the majority of my audience is not integrated with Web 2. I call them Web 0, let alone Web 3. I created a new Web 0. And you have to know who you're dealing with, because if you create a game, I found that people get really panicky if like they feel like they're supposed to be doing something and they can't do it. I feel that there's this thing, this click fear, that people are afraid to click something. I feel like they're afraid they're gonna enter the room like as a naked avatar or something. They're like, can I click that button? It's a button, click it. Then you're not gonna break anything. They're like, what's gonna happen when I click it? Like, setting those expectations for people that aren't used to navigating through this stuff is so important. But I observed something so simple and so basic several shows ago, because we have a leaderboard, and it lets people kind of compete against each other. And then they can see very clearly how they get that. And it could be just connecting with somebody, visiting a vendor, learning about a product. There's like 50 different ways that they can earn points. And people say, how do I earn points? And I show them. And when you think about it, it's letting them understand the behaviors that they can do that will help them to earn points. We're going to be introducing something in the Omniverse City called Evo. This is going to be an in-game currency that we're going to allow to have value through our amazing partnerships with companies like MetaKeep and ePayments outside of the platform through gift cards. But we're doing this because we want people to understand how gamification relates to currency without the fear factor of really dealing with real money or even crypto. So we're actually taking gamification, kind of like when you play with money and with Monopoly. It's like, okay, if I lost $1 million, I'm not crying over it, right? But if it was real life, we'd be like in a bad situation. So I'm really excited to see how people behave with a digital currency that doesn't have so many risks to it. And I'm sure there's other platforms doing that. But I think to your point earlier about how do we like evolve, it's just giving people an opportunity to show you like these new behaviors. Because I don't think people have really had large audiences have really had the opportunity to show us what they want to do in these spaces. There hasn't been enough, I was speaking to my provider that gives, we do pixel streaming. We use GPUs for that. They said if you have 500 concurrent users, that's a lot. Think about that. 500 to any other sponsor would be like 500 people. What the hell is that? I go to these shows with 50,000 people. But when you think about it, how many of those 50,000 people do you actually touch? And I'll leave on this point. Redefining success is so important. I don't even let people talk to me. If a client says, how much traffic do you get? I say, we're going to talk about new metrics, okay? Because that's not how this works here. It's not about how many impressions and how much traffic do you get. How many people are coming? How engaged are they? And very much to Sonia's point, I love what you said. How likely is it that they're going to come back? Thank you, Laurent.
Thank you. Selene?
Yeah, I was going to tell about like on the last 2 years, like actually since pandemic in 2020, like the percentage of the companies that are asking for the gamification companies or, communities is raised above like I don't know the actual number, like, but it kind of tripled, not doubled, but tripled. It was like, and from very different branches, like, for example, a supermarket is coming to the gamification community and coming and telling like, hey, would you like to make us an app so we can give this to our employers and they can play this, so it would improve their workforce and it would improve our work. So it's crazy, like and right now, like especially in as far as I know, in Turkey, every supermarket has some kind of an app for their employers. So people are collecting some kind of coins or some kind of badges or, playing some kind of games. And like recently, I was in the market and I saw like that 2 employers are, playing with each other and they're feeling like they're obliged, kind of, they must do it. So again, the the companies are kind of using this tool, using gamification as a way of improving the work and making people more happy or more satisfied with the work. But still, if you just go to your employee and tell them like, hey, you have to play this game, you have to play this game. So it's we are in the very beginning, like. But what I believe is like right now we also see and witness so many big companies are kind of dismissing people in the big amounts of people, like 2,000 employees or 5,000 employees, 15,000 employees. And this is not just because the economy is bad. Economy is bad, but also this is because of AI, because of also people not very kind of encouraged about going and working for a company for the rest of their lives. Right now, with the web in general, like people are very aware that they can do a few things together and they don't have to work for a company for the rest of their lives. And this is only because web and internet is giving us that kind of crazy opportunities to, work online, work remote, and do what we want to do. So I think this is very important. And again, and gamification again is going to be much more important. And I think everything's going to be gamified somehow. Like it seems like that. I don't know.
I would like to ask you a last question before closing this really interesting panel. I promise you for the next summit, we will have a longer time for each one because it's a bit frustrating to be forced to limit our debate. I do agree that gamification is potentially a great way to engage people and retain people. But what if it could be also something different than just giving them some potential value, a token or whatever, but more focus on, let's say, humanistic values and behavior. How can we introduce this in gamification, in your point of view? I assume I don't have yet any clear answer. The reason why
I can start with that because this is also what I'm very focused on right now, especially, after the big earthquake in Turkey. Like I started to think like, all the technology and all we have, all our sources and opportunities, if they're not centered in the benefits of human nature and like you said, inclusivity is like right now like a buzzword. Like everyone is talking and every company has to talk in some way. But what I see is not inclusive. Like I don't see inclusivity yet, but we will see hopefully. But so I was thinking like, how can we bring up more accessibility for the communities, for the countries, for all the people, and how can we help each other about making this leap of faith with the technology? Because right now accessibility is a big issue. And most of the people, especially in creative industries, because also I'm coming from creative industries, so like if you ask a dancer like if they want to perform in virtual reality or on stage, they of course they will choose a stage, but because they don't have the experience of virtual reality and virtual stages and all that technology, that they hardly reject because they think they don't have a source to put money on it. Like when they come to mind about like, I can't buy a headset, I can't buy this computer which is very strong to help me develop something on blockchain or something like. So they just choose to reject this, and I understand this. But as long as we keep some people out of the game in the technology race, like we will never gonna be inclusive, or we will never going to be democratic. Like because if some people with some kind of a money is developing the Web3, blockchain, NFTs, all that cryptocurrencies and stuff, Like this is already happening. But and I'm sure like everyone is going to have a wallet this year or next year. I don't know, like probably. Like my father is almost 70 years old now, and still he is like, no, I don't want to get into this. But I'm sure he's going to get a wallet this year or next year, because someone is going to go to him and tell him like, you know what, we don't do physical anymore. You know, you have to buy this with the crypto, you know, and you have to collect some Ethereum or something. So he will come to an understanding, like a forced understanding, like, oh, I have to do this now. Like, this is a new currency. Okay, you know, like, I mean, everyone is going to come to a term of usage, but the main idea is how can we do this in the more democratic way, like, because the usage of money is abused by the, you know, so-called 1% of the world, and they're not even 1%, they're lesser, like that people with the you know, big money is like literally it's crazy. But the gap has widened. Gap is so big, you know. The gap between the poor and the rich is incredible. Like some people are dying because of cocaine, some people are dying because of hunger. So I hope, I really hope, and I am really volunteer to work on this, like this new age with the digital help us to bring out more, you know, more democratic and kind of equal. I mean, nothing is equal, I understand that, but this is, I mean, I still believe it can be more democratic and kind of more equal. Like, of course, it's very it seems very individualistic, but this is politic. So like you know, we have seen like during the last year, during the how can I say, the war between Russia and Ukraine, like Zelensky asked people to donate them with the Ethereum. So it was like a point of a big break, like because like also like during that earthquake in Turkey, like the NGOs started to ask people to donate them with Ethereum. So I think we're already there and we're already using all this, but a navigation and also some kind of a sense and understanding is missing. Like we don't see why it is good, and most of the people don't see why it can be more democratic than what we already had back in the day. So I choose to believe that we can really improve our physical lives, or you know, our beings. Oh, sorry. I talked too much.
No. Selene, I clearly share your vision and your hope. I really do think that we can change the world with a real humanistic and long-term oriented purpose through Web3 in technical innovation. And as I used to say, and I say it again and again, first it's humans building for humans. You know, innovation, it's not God. We are constantly deifying innovation. I think we should come back to the roots. And the reason why we have launched Web3 Stronger Together, to try also to spread different point of view and thinking, and putting human values at the center, being human-centric. Sonia, a last word before we close this interesting discussion?
Sure. I guess when it comes to like humanistic value, like what you asked, it's funny because it happens today. I was talking to somebody, and then she was mentioning about like, okay, there is nothing like doing a remote collaboration is very different than doing like a physical collaboration, and nothing will be able to replace that. And it was not such a great day, like it was not such a great moment of discussion, because I thought like, no, I didn't buy this, not for little, but to be honest, like listening to everybody here, it makes me realize maybe that's the trial and error that we have to do. That maybe that the human, I'm so sorry, the humanistic value that we can build through this virtual events is actually like, how do we trial and error to build like a better collaboration for people, for teammates, for how do we build empathy, how do we recognize each other's achievement through this virtual events that is like designed to acknowledge like people, and eventually like whether we like it or not, like all these are here to stay. So it's like, how do we like push the boundaries, I guess, like whenever we're doing like this virtual events, how do we push the boundaries to make like me know who Laurent is, like just like if we are in the same room, we are working together. um that makes me think about that.
Yeah, thank you. Charlene?
Yes, I'll keep this short and sweet because I know we're running over, and I'll leave it with a use case. And it was something that just happened because, like Sonia said, I just keep exploring. And on the heels of our optical metaverse event, which is again the first ever in our industry's history that anybody had even heard the term metaverse, and we were launching the first ever optical metaverse. I had a little doctor, 40 years practicing, come to me and say, "Do you think that this metaverse idea can help me with my platform, which is Children and Vision Development?" It was a nonprofit. And I said, all right, let's go. Let's find something that people are interested, they want to get behind. And it wasn't really about preserving children's vision. That wasn't what got people motivated, which is unfortunate, but we did find a sweet spot, and that was actually esports and gamification. When we started talking to esports players about how improving their vision can make them do better, all of a sudden they were excited. And we had an event 2 weeks ago where we brought esports players to a stage where they were able to talk directly to optometrists and explain to them what they need. And now they're going to be working with my entire industry, frame manufacturers, lens manufacturers, labs, everyone, to develop something that we're going to call V-Sports, which is like vision sports. And we're going to use esports gamers to help us embrace, selling eyewear at events, teaching, people about their vision, creating fundraising campaigns that show thermometers for different earmarked objectives so people can like really contribute to something that they believe in and see that money being put to good use. It was, these are all variations of gamification. It's like very clearly explaining what the goal is, how you can participate, and how you can win. That's the basics of it. And I think when people think of gamification, they visualize a game, Roblox, Fortnite, something like that. But we really have to just open up our imagination to the mechanics of gaming and understand that it could be really anything you want it to be. So thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I could keep discussing with you. It's really inspiring. I'm really glad to create this kind of magic moment. It's a beginning. I say it again. Let's keep building together and try to experiment and to contribute to improve our current society and world for everyone and everywhere. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Selen. And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.